All the action figure news that's fit to shoot. Also, I need a haircut. Well, hello there, everybody. I'm Photo Dave, that's my boring background, this is Toypixx, and in this video, all the action figure pre-orders that have gone up in the past week that I think are going to look incredible in your toy photography. Now remember, the QR code is in the bottom corner for you to scan to get your free action figure photography guide, as well as get signed up for the Toypixx newsletter, and stick around to the end where I show you today's Toypixx photo as well as today's Patreon freebie, which, let's be honest, if you've been watching for the past couple weeks, you know if it's on Patreon, it's free anyway. And now, let's get to those figures. Okay, first I'm going to talk about a couple figures I talked about for Hasbro's 1027 and MCM in London events, and those are Tombstone and Scarlet Spider from the Marvel Legends line. Now, here's why I think Tombstone's going to work. He's got an extra head, he's got extra hands, he's got a crowbar. Everybody loves a crowbar. And the reason that I'm going to give him a pass here, and I think that he really will work great for photos, is even though I can't really tell what's going on for that torso articulation, if anybody's ever worn a suit like that, you know that suit doesn't allow for a whole lot of articulation anyway. So I think this Tombstone actually is going to look pretty good in your photos. Now, Scarlet Spider, he comes with a bit of a caveat. He gets a 5 out of 7 photo score, which isn't enough for me to actually recommend him, but if you've been collecting Marvel Legends for a long time and have some web accessories and possibly even a Ben Reilly head, I think what you've got here is probably the best Scarlet Spider you're going to get out of Marvel Legends. So that's why I'm going to talk him up and say, if you're a fan, you should probably grab this one. SH Figuarts went a little reissue crazy this week, and that's okay with me because those reissues come from a galaxy far, far away. First up is Rey from The Rise of Skywalker. She looks the part, she comes with the things. If you like the sequel trilogy and you really dig Rey, this is a figure that you probably want to add to your collection if you didn't get her the first time around. Next up is Obi-Wan Kenobi from the Phantom Menace. Also looks like a very cool Kenobi. Looks pretty much perfect from that flick. So again, if you're a fan of the Phantom Menace and you like the prequels and all that stuff, I think this is a figure that you're probably going to want to pick up. SHF, specifically for me anyway, in the stuff before the sequels, they're just absolutely killing it, and they killed it a long time ago before I was smart enough to really get into SH Figuarts. So that's my regret right now, is that I didn't load up on those, but I plan to in the future because I love these things. But the third reissue is one that I really, really, really dig, and that is Luke Skywalker from A New Hope. This thing might be one of the perfect Luke Skywalkers. I say that because I have the one that is the Mandalorian from SHF that really is the Return of the Jedi Luke, but the face is wonderful, and the face on this one looks really good too, at least in the promo shots. I don't know much about it when people got it in hand. I've seen a couple reviews. I guess the hair's kinda shiny, but yeah, that's all I got. Either way, no matter what, I'll be trying to find a way to pick up this one, because the OT, that's where my heart lies. Not to be outdone, in the reissue game, Mafex came out with two of the very best figures they've ever produced, and I know this because I've got them. First up is Catwoman from the Batman Hush line, and I don't know if I've said this enough for everybody in the world to know it, but Batman Hush, that subline from Mafex, is the very best subline out there for action figures. That's at least my opinion, but in Toypixx, my opinion is law. And this Catwoman figure is the best female figure from Mafex I have in my collection. I've got 6 of them. I've got Storm, I've got Jean, I've got Psylocke, I've got Harley, Huntress, and Catwoman, and the one that's easily the most fun to photograph, possibly because of the black suit, because let's face it, shooting somebody wearing black is kind of a cheat code for photography, is Catwoman, bar none. So I do think if you missed out on her, this is a figure you want to pick up. And of course, this is the one coming up here is Superman, and he's the one that is the definitive Superman in all of action figures as far as I'm concerned. This is one where I might consider picking up another one because I got him in the first batch, which I guess had kind of a loose bicep in his left arm. Mine had that loose bicep, and I've heard a couple people talking about it, so I'd be curious to pick up this Hush Superman. But again, another figure that is an absolute definitive version of the Man of Steel, and I think if you're a big Superman fan, if you're a Hush fan, if you're any kind of comic book fan, this is a figure you should probably pick up. Up next, from Loose Collector, are the Great Wolves Muraco and Garros. Good lord, these things are pretty. Now, Muraco's the gray one, Garros is the brown one, and they look incredible. Technically, I look at these things and I'm like, well, technically they get a 5 out of 7 photo score, but with the articulated jaw, you can make the argument that there's more than one expression there, so, you know, it's like having another head. And even though they don't come with any other, like, weapons or accessories like that, who cares? These things are wonderful. One of the things that's kept me from picking up Loose Collector stuff is the fact that there's no ball peg waist on it. These have the ball peg waist. Their detail is insane. I want to grab these things, and I thought, just in case you haven't heard other people talk about them, you might want to know they exist as well, because when you turn these things at the waist, you're not going to have to cheat anything, you're not going to have to cover it up. It's going to be absolutely perfect. You stand them up, you move them how you want, and you shoot them as is, and whatever angle you want. It's, ladies and gentlemen, with the detail on these things, with the paint on these things, with that ball-jointed waist, for me, for my cash, these are a toy photographer's dream. Now, I may think of the Medicom Mafex Hush Superman as the definitive Superman in his classic red and blues, but I find it hard to believe that somebody's gonna top the Pop Mart X Gong Studio. I said it exactly how it's typed up. I'm not sure if there's two companies there or whatever's going on, but it's gonna be hard to beat this Kingdom Come Superman. This, my friends, this is a thing of beauty. I don't generally do superhero figures with cloth, and it's not because I'm against cloth goods or anything, it's just it tends to limit articulation, not always, but it tends to. And when we're talking something like Mezco, a lot of the pleather gets rough after a few years, but this Kingdom Come Superman is so beautiful that I'm considering giving him a shot, because whereas the Medicom Mafex Hush Superman is the definitive classic Superman for me, this thing, I don't know that it could ever get touched as being the definitive Kingdom Come Superman. So, yeah, I don't know what else to say about this thing except, we have perfection. Next up, we have this AGS-39 machine gunner on 5K Toys, which is where I found the Superman I just got done talking about. And folks, I don't know what to say about this thing. I don't know if it's something that's taking liberties from an existing property or not, but I do know this. It's a fine-looking action figure. Yes, I don't know anything about this fine-looking action figure, but I do know that it would look awfully good in anyone's toy photos, because it's got all the things. It's got all the articulation. It's a beautiful piece of robotic engineering. Okay, it looks like a robot. It's probably not actually something that's going to move on its own. But, like I said, I don't know anything about this thing. Just like I don't know anything about several of the following things that I'm about to talk about. So what I'll probably do is just babble, and you'll see the pretty pictures, because while I won't know anything about the stuff I'm about to show you, I do know what's gonna look good in front of your lenses, so let's do some kind of crazy SH Figuarts lightning round, because holy crap, they put up a lot of stuff this past week. And now the SH Figuarts lightning round. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Kiwi? I don't know. See, that's how little I know about this stuff. I don't even know how to pronounce the name, but I do know those are some really sweet colors on that thing, and I do know it's going to look great in your action figure photography. If you're a big Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z or whatever iterations there are out there of Dragon Ball fan, let me know in the comments, because I feel like it's something I should know more about, but I really don't. And then, after him, we've got Goku Red Hair Edition. That's basically what I know about this stuff. Again, a figure that's going to look incredible in front of your lens, but I know the Goku's is basically now Red Hair Edition. There might be a Blue Hair Edition. I know there was a Yellow Hair Edition, and I think most of them are Black Hair Editions. That's basically how I distinguish my Gokus, and I know several of you are probably sitting there just shaking your head at me. That's okay. Educate me in the comments, because truly, I want to know about this stuff. And then we've got Andromeda Shun. This is another figure I know absolutely nothing about, but I do know looking at it, it is a glorious piece of articulated plastic. This thing is absolutely incredible, and it comes with a price tag to match, but just looking at it, I realized that, yeah, this is something I'd like to pick up if I had, all that extra money sitting around. Man, it's a good thing that I know that the Ramen Toys Musk is coming out, because I'm prepared, I'm ready to order that, but all these other things that I want to spend money on, whew, it gets rough. And then there is Monkey D. Luffy, or Luffy, I don't know. I think I've heard people say Luffy. All I know about this figure is zero, but with this image that I'm showing right now, I need more goofiness in my collection, and seeing an image like that just brings back Looney Tunes vibes, cracks me up, and if I were into this stuff at all, if I were into One Piece, I might decide, okay, I know there's a lot of Monkey D. Luffy's out there, but this one, just based on the insanity of those eyes popping out, is the one I'm gonna get. Again, One Piece fans, feel free to educate me in the comments. And now, finally, the last two things I know nothing about as far as the SHF stuff goes are these two basically blank bodies. They're just gray bodies for these figures, but I always love stuff like this because it can help a couple ways. It can make it so people that are into customs can customize these, make them whatever colors they want and all that. That'd be pretty cool. But something else that might not be really known when it comes to this stuff is you can use just these blank bodies as kind of photography tutorials for yourself. So you can stand them up and you can hit them with a light and see how the light reflects off them. You can see how the shadow shows up on the figures, so that you can use that as sort of a way to light your figures, or when you're actually in there taking pictures of stuff you know about. And maybe you know about these things, I just don't. But yeah, they're really cool photography tutorials. I used to use this kind of thing when I was in art school, and I'd do some painting and drawing and all that. This really helped me see how the light reflected and bounced all over the place. So yeah, I don't know anything about them, but as something that you could use as a photography tool, they might be something to check out. Whew! And that was that for the lightning round as far as stuff I knew nothing about, but then SH Figuarts decided we're going to drop a couple things you might actually know something about, Photo Dave, and they dropped Qui-Gon Jinn from the Phantom Menace and Darth Maul from the Phantom Menace. Now, I've said before that I probably wouldn't be too interested in figures from that movie, where, for me, where the prequels started hitting was after the Battle of Geonosis, and then when the Clone Wars cartoon series kind of tied into it. I thought that stuff forward there because it kind of gave more characterization to a lot of the background people, kind of made things make a little more sense. That's where I'd really be stoked about collecting from. But this Qui-Gon and this Darth Maul look amazing. However, as is often the case with SH Figuarts Star Wars stuff, they're already gone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the video description below, where I'm going to put a lot more links, I'm going to put links for Hobby Link Japan and Ami Ami. I'm going to find the pages that they were at, because generally these places end up getting second stock at some point, and when things end up getting released, then sometimes they show up at that time as well. So bookmark those pages. Hopefully, if you missed out on Darth Maul and Qui-Gon Jinn, because, woo, these are some good-looking figures, you'll be able to get them at some point in the future. And folks, that's what I've got as far as the action figure pre-orders that went up this past week that I think are going to look incredible in front of your lens. So hopefully you'll get to pre-order some. You can take some photos of them when they come out, because I think they look really, really good. Now, do me a favor and comment below and let me know if I missed anything you think is going to be a really photogenic figure, or let me know what you think of what I talked about. Are you going to pick any of them up? Just curious, because YouTube loves that for the algorithm. But actually, yeah, I am really curious, because especially with the Dragon Ball and the One Piece stuff, I don't know anything, so I don't know if these are awesome figures or if they're repaints. I don't know stuff, so let me know all that in the comments. And now, today's Toypixx photo. There was a whole lot of Man of Steel talk today, at least, you know, more than usual. And I'm fortunate enough to have the first release of the Mafex Hush Superman. Man, I love this thing. And so I thought, I haven't been taking pictures of him lately, so I'm gonna take a shot. And that's what I did. Now, what you'll be able to do is scan the QR code and go to the X/Twitter, whatever Elon's calling it today, and comment on this image with an image of your own. Make it a figure that maybe you just haven't shot in a while, that you're really stoked that you got to shoot today. And I don't know, comment with it. Let's see what kind of figures we love that we don't normally shoot, because truly, I think we're going to see some real gems in this comment section. And now, we're going to move on to today's Patreon freebie. Today's Patreon freebie might be something that ends up being a Friday staple, and that is, I've taken all the photos that I shot this week, and I've put up the high-res images and the Photoshop files on Patreon for anybody to go in and pick up. So, that's pretty easy, right? If you like any of the images, go ahead and grab them. If you're trying to figure out how I did something in Photoshop with any of those images, go ahead and grab the Photoshop files. If you want to use any of those for some marketing purposes, go get them. They're free. They're for you. So, with all that said, on to the final part of this video. Oh my gosh, folks, that took me way longer to record than it normally does, mostly because there were a lot of figures to talk about, and last week I think I had 4 or 5. There just wasn't a lot. But anywho, thanks as always for taking the time to sit down and check out this video. You have no idea how hugely appreciated that is. And until next time, ladies and gents, have fun and happy snapping. See ya.